What's going on, guys? Vanity here, back with another tutorial. This time I'm going to be talking about compression. I'm still deciding in my head, but I think I'm going to turn this into maybe a 2 or 3 part series. There's a lot to compression, there's a lot of ground we can cover. In this video I'm going to just talk about the controls of a compressor and make sure first of all that people understand what a compressor is, what a compressor does, and what you should use a compressor for. So, in my opinion, I think compression is probably one of the most misunderstood tools in modern music production. There's a lot of sort of misguided information online, so I'm kind of hoping that this video is going to serve as, a kind of all-in-one stop for people that either don't know what compression is or want to learn more about it. So first of all, compressors are used to control the dynamic range of a sound. So for those that don't know, the dynamic range is the difference between the loudest and quietest parts of a sound. Let's take the human voice as an example. It can be very quiet and very whispery, or it can be very loud and very shouty. Now the difference between the whispering and the loudness, or the whispering and the shouting I should say, is the dynamic range of the human voice. So now that you know what the compressors are used to do, control or reduce dynamic range, and you know what dynamic range is, I want to talk about the controls. So the first one I want to get into is the threshold. Now the threshold is the level at which the compressor will start to compress. So by setting the threshold, we're saying that once the volume exceeds this level, the sound will then be compressed. The amount the sound is reduced by in decibels is determined by the next control, which is the ratio. Now a lot of people can have trouble with the ratio, so I'm going to try and spend a little bit more time on it. The ratio setting controls how much compression is applied to a sound. Once a sound passes over the threshold level, it will then be compressed at an amount determined by the ratio control. So on compressors, the ratios will be written as just that, a ratio, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, etc. I'm sure you've all seen this. And obviously it's the ratio between two numbers. So let's take 2 to 1 as an example. What this means is that for every 2 decibels that the sound goes over the threshold, 1 decibel will be outputted. So if the level goes 10 decibels over the threshold with a ratio of 2 to 1, that means that 5 decibels will be outputted and 5 decibels will be reduced. So the higher the ratio, the more compressed the output signal will be. So I'm going to demonstrate this now on this piece of audio. First I'm going to have the ratio set on, I think it should be on 2 to 1. I'll just put this on 2 to 1. And I'll keep the threshold around -5. To start with, I'll turn up the threshold and I'll show you what that's doing. I'll then do the same for the ratio, because I think if you can hear it, it might give you a better understanding of what it's actually doing, rather than just hearing me talk about it. So you can notice that I'm getting way more reduction now, almost -10, well -14 dB actually. I'll then just start to turn up the ratio. And now you can hear the sound's completely squashed. So this control here, the threshold, this is setting the level at which the compressor will start to be applied at. So if I've got it at -5, that's where the compression is going to start to be applied at. Then obviously the ratio is on infinity here, which is basically means it's acted as a limiter. So I'll back it off to, I think I'll leave it there at 2 to 1 again, which is obviously the example I spoke about was 2 to 1, so that's been applied here. I think 6 dB is a nice level of reduction. Obviously different producers, different artists like different compression settings. This seems to work nicely for me because it gives a nice natural sound, especially on the drums. I wanted to talk a little bit about the reduction actually, because you can see right now that we're getting around -6 dB of reduction on this drum loop. And obviously I just turned up the threshold and you can see how, well you can both see and hear actually how the sound is being more squashed, resulting in a sort of more dynamically controlled sound. So when I'm saying squash and when I'm saying overcompress, I'm meaning that it's bringing up the audio forth. So the quieter sounds will be brought up and the louder sounds are going to be brought down, therefore decreasing the dynamic range. I've just thought of another example actually. So I'll just turn this off for a minute. So when I process this tutorial, I'll apply some compression on my voice to obviously control it. Now I live on a main road, so I've got constantly, cars going past, motorbikes, whatever. So on the finished recording, it's going to bring those motorbikes and cars higher up, and it's going to bring, when I raise my voice, that's going to come down. So it's going to bring the outside noise up and my voice down slightly. And you might think, well, that makes no sense, that's going to sound weird, but it doesn't, because it's controlling my voice more. So because it's bringing the peaks of my voice down, I can then turn my voice up louder before it starts to distort. And that's how compressors work. They are just controlling the dynamic range of a sound. Once you get that in your head, it's very simple to be able to use compression on sounds. I also wanted to mention quite an important tip on compression is that make sure before you open your compressor, you're actually asking yourself, does this sound need to be compressed? Because I know a lot of people that just open up compressors and equalizers just in habit, just because they have it maybe defaulted on the channels, or they just think that they should be applying these effects. But a lot of samples have already been compressed, they've already been EQ'd, so they don't always need more compression added onto them. So just bear that in mind before you actually use compressors. Make sure that you are actually using them for the right reasons and the sound does need compression. So I hope that helped, guys. As I said at the start of this video, I think I'm going to do another couple of videos on compression because it's quite a big subject. I'll probably do another one on basic techniques and maybe one on advanced, or maybe two on advanced. Things like parallel compression, etc. So thanks for your time, guys. If this video has helped you, please give it a like below. And if you're interested in these sort of tutorials, please subscribe as well, because I'm going to be constantly making these every week. So I hope this has helped, guys, and I'll catch you in the next tutorial. Peace.